Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Braja Janaranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jam Vishnupat Paramhamsa Parivrajakacharya Ashtatarashatashri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Ki Jai Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. So we'll read about two great personalities by the name of Sri Jagadish Pandit and Srila Jiva Goswami. So first we'll read about Sri Jagadish Pandit. Jagadish Pandit was the savior of the world. Wow. This is from the Chaitanya Charitamrita. He was a monsoon cloud of Krishna Prem, pouring showers of mercy upon everyone. Jagadish Pandit and his brother, Mahesh, lived near Jagannath Mishra in Sridham Mayapur. One Ekadashi day, baby Nimai was crying constantly. He stopped after taking Mahaprasadam rice in Jagadish Pandit's home. Then Nimai performed a miracle. Jagadish Pandit swooned in ecstasy upon seeing baby Gauranga manifest a beautiful form with a monsoon cloud blue complexion, shining like lightning and adorned with a shimmering peacock feather. After moving to Sri Chaitradham, Jagannath Puri, Lord Gaurachandra asked Jagadish to come help spread the Harinam Sankirtan movement. Taking Lord Jagannath's permission, Jagadish Pandit took a deity of Jagannath back to Nadia to worship in his village of Yashur. In Krishna's Leela, Jagadish Pandit serves as the dancer, Chandahasa or a Nagapatni. Right now we'll read about Jiva Goswami. Appearing as the nephew of Sri Rupa Sanatana Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami displayed all the charming features of a Mahapurush divine person. He had lotus eyes, a high nose and forehead, broad chest, long arms, and a radiant golden body. In his boyhood, he made a deity of Kṛṣṇa Balaram. Expressing his pure devotion, he would often cry while worshipping them. After offering clothes, chandan, flowers, ornaments, and tasty sweets to Krishna Balaram, he would take some and give Mahaprasadam to his playmates. From the beginning, Jiva showed his kindness to other jivas, living entities. Jiva was so much attached to Krishna Balaram that at bedtime he would embrace his deities and fall asleep. His parents thought he was only playing, but the villagers rejoiced to see Jiva's love for Krishna Balaram. In school, he quickly mastered Sanskrit grammar, poetry, logic, and philosophy. Srimad Bhagavatam gave life to his life. Krishna Katha filled him with happiness. No one dared to speak to him about anything but Krishna. He toured Navadvip Dham with Sri Nityananda Prabhu, studied Sanskrit in Benares, and then resided in Vrindavan. After humbly serving Sri Rupa Goswami by washing his feet, preparing his manuscripts, and editing his books, he received Diksha. Once the aging Vaishnava Vallabhacharya gave critical advice to Sri Rupa Goswami on his writing. Although much younger than the Venerable Vallabha, Sri Jiva brazenly spoke in defense of his guru. Sri Rupa Goswami scolded Sri Jiva, telling him to leave Vrindavan. Living in an abandoned crocodile hole in Nandagat, 45 minutes from Sri Rupa's Bhajan Kutir, Sri Jiva Goswami began fasting. He subsisted on wheat flour which he begged mixed with Yamuna water. Seeing his strict self-denial, Sanatana Goswami brought him back to the service of Sri Rupa Goswami. Srila Prabhupada once commented on this guru-disciple pastime. Sri Rupa Goswami cast out Jiva Goswami to teach us, the devotees of today, a lesson. It was not done to teach or punish Sri Jiva Goswami, who is a perfectly liberated eternal associate of Lord Krishna. Rupa Goswami sent Jiva Goswami out of Vrindavan to teach all jivas what he wrote in Upadeshamrita, Vacha Vegam, Manaso Krodha Vegam, Jiva Vegam. At all times, a devotee should control his tongue, his speech, and always remain humble. Trinadapi Sunichena. After the disappearance of Sri Rupa and Sri Sanatana Goswami, Sri Jiva Goswami became the Gaudiya Sampradaya Acharya to guide all Vaishnavas in Navadvip, Vrindavan, and Jagannath Puri. Although he was the undisputed leader, he always acted as a humble servant of all the jivas. Whenever Bengali Vaishnavas visited Vrindavan, he would lovingly receive them, arrange for prasadam and comfortable rooms, and even guide them on Vraj Mandala Parikrama. A super excellent Sanskrit scholar, Sri Jiva Goswami, would compose Sanskrit verses in his mind, write them down without changing anything. Write them down means he used a metal stylus to permanently etch them in palm leaves. This inscription method left no room for erasing, editing, rewriting, or running a spell check. Yet each verse was a priceless gem of perfect meter, rhythm, poetry, and meaning. He was the greatest philosopher in all of Indian history. Contemporary Sanskritists called him the greatest scholar who ever lived. Sri Jiva Goswami was the youngest but most prolific writer among the Goswamis. He wrote an astounding 500,000 Sanskrit verses, about 25 books. His books prove that Sri Chaitanya's philosophy gives the essence of Vedic wisdom and the perfection of religion. Gopal Champu, Sat Sandarbhas, and Hari Nam Vaikarna are three of his most famous works. The Sandarbhas firmly establish the transcendental truths of Srimad Bhagavatam. They also confirm that Lord Sri Krishna is the supreme absolute truth, the cause of everything and the source of all avatars. Anyone who faithfully reads these books will become a devotee of Krishna. Okay. Another name of Jiva is Jivaka, one who makes the jivas emit ecstatic sounds. Sri Jiva Goswami did this by supplying the esoteric meaning of the Srimad Bhagavatam through his Bhagavat commentaries in the Shat Sandarbhas. One who expands the nature of the jiva, his relationship with the Lord, the process to achieve the goal and the ultimate purpose of life is Jivaka or Jiva. Okay, last paragraph. The following quote comes from Sri Jiva Goswami's Nectarian Gopal Champu, which describes the playful Vrindavan pastimes of Radha Damodar. From Govardhan Hill, a large form of Govardhan manifested. All the Vrajvasis, along with Krishna himself, then offered obeisances to that towering form. As Sri Krishna stood by with folded hands, that great personality Govardhan bellowed, "I shall eat all your offerings." He ate and drank water by emptying all the kunds around the hill. While eating all the preparations made by the Vrajavasis with his right hand, he snapped the fingers on his left hand. The cowherd man ran out of the way when Govardhan stretched out his hands to take more and called out, "Anior, Anior, Anior, bring more, bring more, bring more." At the request of Acharya Rani Janavi Devi Thakurani, Sri Jiva Goswami had Srinivasacharya, Narottam Das Thakur, and Shamananda Prabhu take the Goswami's writings from Vrindavan to Bengal. They translated them into Bengali and distributed them throughout Bengal and Orissa. They also preached extensively and initiated hundreds of devotees. In 1542, Jiva Goswami established the worship of Sri Sri Radha Damodar in Sevakunj Vrindavan. His samadhi stands in the temple compound. Jiva Goswami is Vilas Manjari and Radha Damodar's Vrindavan pastimes. All right, something about Jiva Goswami. Hope everybody remembers all that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Seventh Canto, Chapter 5, Prahlad, the saintly son of Hiranyakashipu, Text 13. If everybody could repeat after me. Sa Esha Atma Swa Parati Abudhibir Dharatyanu Kramano Nirupyate Muyanti Yad Vartmani Veda Vadino Pramadayo Hi Esha Binati Me Matim. What is the Sa Esha Atma Swaparitya Buddhibir Taratyayanu Kramano Nirupyate Muyanti Yad Vartmani Veda Vadino Brahmadayo Hish Brahmadayo Yesha Biniti Me Matim Sa Esha Atma Swaparitya Buddhibir Taratyayanu Kramano Nirupyate Muyanti Yat Vartmani Veda Vadino Brahmadayo Yesha Binati Me Matim Sa Esha, yeah. Saha, he, Eshaha, this, Atma, super soul situated in everyone's heart. Swapara, this is my own business, and that is someone else's. Iti, thus, abudhi bihi, by those who have such bad intelligence. Taratyaya, very difficult to follow. Anukramanaha, whose devotional service, nirupite, is ascertained by scriptures or the instructions of the spiritual master. Muyanti, are bewildered. Yet, of whom? Vartmani, on the path. Vedavadinaha, the followers of Vedic instructions. Brahma Adayaha, the demigods, beginning from Lord Brahma. He, indeed. Eshaha, this one. Binati, changes. Me, my. Matim, intelligence. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Persons who always think in terms of enemy and friend are unable to ascertain the supersoul within themselves. Not to speak of them, even such exalted persons as Lord Brahma, who are fully conversant with the Vedic literature, are sometimes bewildered and fall in the principles of devotional service. The same Supreme Personality of Godhead who has created this situation has certainly given me the intelligence to take the side of your so-called enemy. Purport. Prahlad Maharaj admitted frankly, my dear teachers, you wrongly think that Lord Vishnu is your enemy, but because he is favorable toward me, I understand that he is the friend of everyone. You may think that I have taken the side of your enemy, but factually he has bestowed a great favor upon me. So just read one more. O Brahmins, teachers, as iron attracted by a magnetic stone moves automatically toward the magnet, my consciousness, having been changed by his will, is attracted by Lord Vishnu, who carries a disc in his hand. Thus I have no independence. Purport. For iron to be attracted by a magnet is natural. Similarly, for all living entities to be attracted toward Krishna is natural. And therefore the Lord's real name is Krishna, meaning he who attracts everyone and everything. The typical examples of such attraction are found in Vrindavan, where everything and everyone is attracted by Krishna. The elderly persons like Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Devi, the friends like Sri Dama and Sudama, and the other cowherd boys, the gopis like Srimati Radharani and her associates, and even the birds, beasts, cows, and calves are attracted. The flowers and fruits in the gardens are attracted. The waves of the Yamuna are attracted, and the land, sky, trees, plants, animals, and all other living beings are attracted by Krishna. This is a natural situation of everything in Vrindavan. Just contrary to the affairs of Vrindavan is the material world, where no one is attracted by Krishna and everyone is attracted by Maya. This is the difference between the spiritual and material worlds. Hiranyakashipu, who was in the material world, was attracted by women and money, whereas Prahlad Maharaj, being in his natural position, was attracted by Krishna. In replying to Hiranyakashipu's question about why Prahlad Maharaj had a deviant view, Prahlad said that his view was not deviant, for the natural position of everyone is to be attracted by Krishna. Hiranyakashipu found this view deviant. Prahlad said because of being unnaturally unattracted by Krishna. Hiranyakashipu therefore needed purification. As soon as one is purified of material contamination, he is again attracted by Krishna. Sarvopati vinirmuktam tat puridvena nirmalam. In the material world, everyone is contaminated by the dirt of sense gratification and is acting according to different designations, sometimes as a human being, sometimes a beast, sometimes a demigod or tree, and so on. One must be cleansed of all these designations, then one will be naturally attracted to Krishna. The Bhakti process purifies the living entity of all unnatural attractions. When one is purified, he is attracted by Krishna and begins to serve Krishna instead of serving māyā. This is his natural position. A devotee is attracted by Krishna, whereas a non-devotee, being contaminated by the dirt of material enjoyment, is not. This is confirmed by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita 7:28. Yesham tvantakatam papam jananam punikarmanam te dvanda moha vinirmukta vajante mamdriyavritaha. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and who are freed from the duality of delusion, engage themselves in my service with determination. One must be freed from all the sinful dirt of material existence. Everyone in this material world is contaminated by material desire. Unless one is freed from all material desire, anyabhilashita shunyam, one cannot be attracted to Krishna. Om Ikaniti Binandasya Gananjana Shalakya Chakshulan Militam Yana Tasmai Shri Gurvena Mahamukam Karidivachalam Pangam Langa Teganimya Kribata Mahan Vande Shri Gurindanitanam Bancha Kapadribishcha Kripasanda Beva Chapatitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So iron is Prabhupada writes, for iron to be attracted by a magnet is natural. We see that it's a natural, you could say, pulling there. So similarly, for the soul, for the living entity, to be attracted to Krishna is natural. It is unnatural for the soul to be unattracted to Krishna. It's a considered diseased condition. And as Srila Prabhupada explains in the purport, that in the spiritual world, that everyone is attracted to Krishna. Prabhupada names his mother and father and different friends, and the cowherd girls, the gopis, and different associates, and even birds, beasts, cows, calves, flowers, fruits, it says gardens, trees. So everyone is attracted to Krishna in the spiritual world. And in the material world, in disease condition, they're not attracted. And when someone is attracted, or you could say absorbed or infatuated with something or someone, then they can't help but to think of that something or someone. Everything reminds them of that something or someone. Just like people some people are addicted to food. Everything's about food. They're just always thinking about food. And they're watching all different types of shows and people, showing how to cook certain things, Food Network or whatever it is. Foodies. Yeah, foodies. They're just really, and it could, foodies, fatties, yeah. So they're attached. They're addicted. They're attached. They're into it. Everything's about that. And of course, from a religious point of view, or we would say a spiritual point of view, or Krishna conscious point of view, devotees say, okay, well, that's another, put it on the list of another way to, you could say, spoil your human form of life by being absorbed in this, right? Eating, sleeping, mating, defending. And yeah, some people are just, everything's about, like Prabhupada would say, okay, for a lusty man, I mean, everything, the whole world's just full of opportunities to engage their lust. That's all he sees, just lusty opportunities everywhere. or opportunities to engage his lust. And everything reminds that person of lust and the activities of lust, sexual lust. Now, for a devotee, and as the Chaitanya Charitamrita states, that at a particular point in a devotee's existence or in a devotee's advancement, this is a very advanced stage, but we're all meant to gradually make our way there, not too gradually, but as much as possible, that everything reminds them of Krishna. So, the light of the sun, right? Krishna says, I am the light of the sun, the light of the moon, the ability in man, and so on, right? So everything's going on by the energy of Krishna. So Srila Prabhupada writes that, in the third canto, that when a devotee sees something, they see, okay, this is going on by the energy of Krishna. And then they think about Krishna, and they think about the personal form of Krishna. So immediately they're reminded. And Prabhupada would give the example, Srila Prabhupada would give the example of a mother who's in love with her child. Every good mother's in love with her child. It's a motherly son. So he'd give the example that okay, the mother has a shoe. Now for a person, a person who has no attachment, no connection to that son whose shoe that belongs to, that shoe means nothing. Just it's trash. Just throw it away. It's useless. But when the mother sees the small shoe of her son, baby shoe, she thinks of her son, and how much she loves her son and the different activities of her son. There's a whole her heart, or you could say her mind, is just flooded with emotion. She may even cry just by seeing a shoe. So he probably should have probably given that example. So similarly, devotee in the development of or the awakening of their Krishna consciousness, gradually they will see everything in relation to Krishna, and that's the idea. And that's you could say symptomatic of being Krishna conscious, that everything reminds us of Krishna. It's a good sign. Which also means service to Krishna, also means preaching movement, right? We see things in relation. Like Srila Prabhupada, for example, he was walking, I forgot where he was walking. He was walking somewhere in the world and somewhere in America, and he pointed to what did he say? Does anyone remember? He pointed to that, what's that paint shop right here in Garnett? Sherwin-Williams. There's a logo there. There's a world. Yeah. You want to say in the mic?
No, you can say it.
Well, it was in Detroit. Sherwin-Williams has a logo. It's a world globe. I guess they're not flat earthers. There's a world globe, and it's being covered by paint. And it says, what did it say? We cover the earth. Something like that. So Prabhupada, he would say, oh yes, this is Krishna consciousness. And then devotees were wondering, okay. And then he said it a couple times. And then he explained that.
Outside a hardware store.
Yeah.
We couldn't figure out whether he was looking at the welfare office, a hardware store, or a donut shop.
Yeah. So he said, this is...
Distribution, mercies of the living entities, welfare. What's he talking about?
So he said, this is Krishna consciousness. We cover the earth. You know, Prabhupada said we want to cover, right? Every town and village.
Every town and village.
So he wasn't just seeing, okay, there's a Sherwin-Williams, But he's seen everything in relation to Krishna and Krishna consciousness. So that's the idea. That one should learn. And therefore Krishna says in the, right, he has a whole chapter in the Bhagavad Gita that by the light of the sun, the ocean, and so on, there's ways to remember Krishna. We should try that. And as Srila Prabhupada writes here, that Hiranyakashipu therefore needed purification. He didn't see anything in relation to Krishna conscious. He wasn't Krishna conscious. He was seeing everything in relation to, as Prabhupada says, typical money and women, right? And therefore he needed purification, which he does get purification later on in this pastime, special purification by the nails of Lord Nrsingadev, right? It's a special purification. And sometimes we see this in, like, there's special cases, like in, for example, when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was starting the Sankirtan movement, that with Chand Kazi, right? He came and he broke the mridanga, or his men broke the mridanga, and it was and then he had a dream, and in the dream, Lord Nrsingadev appeared to him, and he threatened him, and he sat on his chest. Not just threatened him, but he actually put his nails, and he said, if you try to stop the Sankirtan movement, then... So then after that, he got the message, and then... Yeah, he got the message, and after that, he allowed the Sankirtan movement, and generations said to follow in his mood. So one, you could say, one symptom of one being Krishna conscious is that everything reminds them of Krishna, or them being purified. And another one is that sarvapati vinirmuktam, that they are free from desires from material designation. It means they don't identify. They don't identify with the body. Means particular whatever ethnicity, age, and so on. There's so many things, bodily identifications. So they're free from that. And they're able to live a life free of sin. As Krishna states in the Bhagavad Gita, mentioning persons who acted piously in previous lives and in this life whose sinful actions are completely eradicated and are freed from the duality of delusion and engage themselves in my service with determination. In other words, there has to be a certain degree of piety. There has to be a certain degree of freedom from sinful activity, freedom from sinful reaction. And we see that in our preaching of Krishna consciousness that many people are not free. They're quite bound. And interesting enough is that Srila Prabhupada, he preached to these people. It's like amazing, actually. It's completely amazing, inconceivable. You have Brahmins of India who wouldn't even look at such people. What to speak of talk with them. They wouldn't get close to them. Like, for example, I mean, it's quite gross, but people's bathing habits. I mean, there was one guy at the lounge, he was practically bragging how he didn't bathe for quite a long time. And he's kind of he's not a homeless person, not on the streets. He has a life, he's a kind of quote unquote hip guy, he has a lot of friends, and he's quite a charismatic fellow. But he was like bragging how he didn't bathe, for quite a long time. The boys were kind of shocked. No, he has a lot of friends. It's quite a, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, you never guess he didn't bathe, but he just announced that, right? Now, you have like traditional Brahmins in India. I mean, they They don't look at such people. They don't get close to such people. They got to take a bath. I mean, even in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right, you had, or the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes of Lord Nityananda and Lord Chaitanya, right? They came in contact with this one so-called, right, transcendentalist, right? He was offering them whatever, what was it? Anand, yes, which was wine. And then after that, Lord Chaitanya learned that they jumped up, and what did they do? They jumped right in the Ganga, right? Yeah, with their clothes on. So, and then you have people who just, they don't understand, like, and they can't even begin to understand that there's such a thing as right and wrong. They just, and it's very common nowadays for even very big intellectuals and influential people. They're trying to erase this. It's part of religion, right? What does religion practically mean? There's good and there's bad, right? Rules to follow and things you should do and not should do, right? Morality. But you talk with some people at the lounge, for example, they just they don't understand, like, at all. Like, just don't get it. And actually, aside from not understanding, they fight you. They challenge you, which is just complete irrational challenges. So what is this? What is this all about? This means they're covered. This means they're complete. They're like, they're so covered in ignorance. It's like Prabhu would say, it's scary. He says it's the darkest of the dark. So Srila Prabhupada, he came and he preached to these people. And he made these people devotees, and he gave them a chance. So we members of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, if we have made advancement, which I'm sure we have, in relation to being free from material designation, in relation to understanding that there is such a thing as right and wrong, in relation to culture and so on, if we made some advancement, which I'm sure we have, then what? Then it's our duty to actually try to help people, try to encourage people, try to, you could say, preach and make them understand. That's our duty. And it's not automatic. It's not going to happen automatically. I mean, you put a person who's practically on the platform, you put a person who's practically on the platform of an animal, who doesn't understand right and wrong, who doesn't understand the need to have basic cleanliness habits, who is completely absorbed in sinful activity. You put that person, you put them by themselves, and what happens? What happens? They don't make any progress because they cannot. They cannot make any progress. So therefore, it's the mercy of the sadhus. It's the mercy of the sadhus, of the saintly persons. They have to reach out to them. One has to become sadhus, and then after becoming sadhus, they have to reach out. So does anybody have any question or comment? Govardhan, you had something? I think Govardhan has something. He has them. Okay. Govardhan Das.
Thank you, Bob. When I would present Chant and Be Happy, I would ask people, how often do you shower? And you'll be surprised what type
really?
of, yeah. So I show the back and it says, it is as necessary to a life of growth as regular brushing is to dental hygiene. And then I was surprised people say, oh, it's been 2 weeks. I'm just like, yeah. And they look clean too, but I'm just, so yeah, it reminded me of that book.
Just imagine all the things they're doing in that 2 weeks. Then they're saying, hey,
Yeah, so.
Picking their teeth, so many things.
And this is just, this is just the body. What about the mind? What's going on upstairs? There's a lot of so it's a great. So we can see how it's great mercy, right? Srila Prabhupada coming, and then the devotees, right? Him making disciples, and them preaching, and the Krishna conscious movement going on. It's a great need, actually. It's like, again, without help. I mean, you put a child alone. I mean, what are they going to do? I mean, they're gonna perish, actually. So they can't be left alone. They have to be cared for and looked after and all that. So, yeah, thank you for your comment. Any other comments or questions? Okay. Yes. You want to pass her a microphone, Damaresh? Just because they're broadcasting it and people could hear the...
I just had a question about not seeing like a good and evil kind of thing in people. I know you had mentioned it earlier.
Yeah. How
do we change the mind to not see the world in that way? Because sometimes it's very difficult, especially when, you're trying to be kind to others and, not just kind, but, like try to see Krishna in them, but still it's just like hitting a wall. How do you deal with that? Or, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome. How do we deal with that? Does anybody have any thoughts about that?
Well, one of the ways that Prabhupada did it in his plan is to try to reach people on the level that they're at. And most people are attracted to nice preparations of food, especially if it's free. And so that free feast, that early days, he was told that in this country on Sunday, and people gather for dinner, at family, I don't know how prominent it is now, but that was in 1965, 66. So Prabhupada immediately said, okay, we'll have a love feast. He gave it that name, love feast, That's, who doesn't want a love feast, I mean, you have to be pretty... So he attracted so many people, and just to bring them into the environment where they would hear about Krishna, and especially they'd hear the chanting, that's so important, because as soon as someone hears it, even if they're not chanting, but they're hearing, the purification is taking place. And a certain percentage of them, not all obviously, would then become interested in hearing philosophy. So the idea is to approach people where they're at. And so many of the books, chant and be happy. Who doesn't want to be happy? Okay, I'll look at this. Or the higher taste, the cookbook, it's all the food, but the philosophy is in there also, woven in. So that's the art of, that Prabhupada taught us, is that, okay, present something that's intrinsically attractive. The Rath Yatra in New York, so many people were standing on the side, the first Rath Yatra, just agape, and seeing this thing, and then some of them, certain percentage, became attracted to learn more. So I try to approach people where they're at.
Yeah, in relation to seeing others, because you could say, well, like I remember there's one devotee, he was working as a social worker. I mean, that was a really tough job. And specifically, he had all these tough cases of people who were just really, really, deep in the modes of material nature, to the degree that it's not that they would just do wrong things, like abusive things, but they just didn't care. They didn't care at all. And he had to deal with these people like day after day. These cases where there's no remorse. These people didn't have any feelings practically. And he was complaining to me one day that, how am I supposed to deal with this? Like, so maybe you should change your job. But how am I supposed to deal with this? I'm having a hard time. Okay, this person's a spirit soul, but they're definitely not acting like it, and they're a devotee of Krishna ultimately, but they're definitely not acting like they're really covered. So it's very difficult. But there is a way, by transforming our consciousness, means becoming more and more Krishna conscious, that even such people we could see good. Like Srila Prabhupada was one time in San Francisco. And Prabhupada's coming from a place of, especially Vrindavan in those days, when Prabhupada left Vrindavan, it was so even materially speaking, so clean and quiet and peaceful, and what to speak of spiritually. Such a wonderful place, Vrindavan. He was coming from that, and then he landed in San Francisco, or he eventually went to San Francisco after New York, and then it was just so the opposite, chaos and just confusion and no one following any type of. It was the 60s, the hippie era, and then taking Prabhupada there, coming from such a place as Vrindavan, and then him coming into the heart of all that. So he was walking with Mukunda Das at the time, and Mukunda was feeling bad. They were going to some program, and you had those people laying on the ground, laying there on the ground, all drugged out, and all types of smells, kind of rancid smells. He's walking through this city of San Francisco, and then Mukunda, he says, he's trying to kind of, nice night, Prabhupada, right? He's just kind of, and then Prabhupada says, yes, it's beautiful. Everything's, beautiful. So, and Prabhupada he was seeing that, again, he was seeing the energy of Krishna. These people are part and parcel of Krishna. He was seeing, he had, the spiritual vision. So he wasn't seeing like the grotesque, ugly feature of, Haight-Ashbury on a Saturday night. And you could say it's a hard thing, not because most people say, "Oh, this is really gross," get me out of here. So the more we can become Krishna conscious, the more by chanting and hearing about Krishna, right? Chanting Hare Krishna, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, and engage in other devotional activities, and our consciousness could become, more and more like that. And even to the degree that we may pray for, like Haridas Thakur, for example, it's such an extreme example that he, because he became a Hare Krishna devotee, means because he was chanting Hare Krishna, he was born in a Muslim family, they wanted to kill him. Not that they just wanted to kill him, they arranged for that he was going to be beat, right, to death. So, and they would do that publicly for the reason they would teach people lesson. If you can, this is what will happen. So they tried to do that. One marketplace, two, and it was going on like that. And he wasn't dying. And then later these particular soldiers, they said, if you don't die, we're going to go back, and then our ruler is going to kill us. So in other words, he was, please die. So then Haridas Thakur went into this samadhi as if he was. And then the ruler said, what do we do with him? He's dead. What do we do with him? And then, don't bury him because it will become a place of pilgrimage. You should throw him in the river, right? So they threw him in the river, and Haridas Thakur is floating there. And then he comes up and he's chanting, Hare Krishna. Now, eventually, that ruler hears about it, and he says, "Okay, you're an authentic saint. You could do whatever you want." Probably out of fear, right? Also, but interesting enough is that person and many of people he's connected to get severe reactions for the abusing Haridas Thakur. But Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and when he was displaying his godhood in the Mahaprakash, right, he was asking devotees for benedictions, this and that, and Haridas Thakur, he asked for the benediction, let my benediction be life after life, I take the remnants of the Vaishnavas, very humble. And Lord Chaitanya, he said that actually when I saw these soldiers treating you like that, I came down from Vaikuntha, I had my chakra and I was ready to kill them immediately. But my chakra was powerless. Why? Because you were praying for them. You were wishing well on them. I mean, it's amazing. I mean, how do you wish well on someone like that? But he was doing that. He was wishing. And then Lord Chaitanya, he couldn't throw his chakra. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he showed Haridas Thakur his back. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu he had markings on his back. He was taking the beatings. But anyways, the main point being is that you just see Haridas Thakur's vision, such transcendental vision. So ultimately one needs to develop, it's very hard to develop such a vision, but ultimately one needs to develop this vision. And as Dravida Prabhu was saying, there's prasadam distribution, there's all different types of ways we could try to, in the meantime, help people, start the process of purification in which they will understand what is right and wrong, actually, over time. They'll understand that. Any last? Okay.
It's amazing Haridas Thakur's ability to see like that, and it's worshipable. But I can't help think of what would Arjuna or Bhima do, if someone was trying to beat them. I feel like they're pure devotees also, but they would maybe act differently. So
yeah, there's different examples. That's true. There's different examples. Like one time, Prabhupada was asked, "What if someone attacks you? Will you defend yourself?" And then Srila Prabhupada said, "Why should I let some rascal damage Krishna's property?" Means he's referring to the body. So he said he would defend, right? So yeah, there's different, and therefore there's Kshatriyas, right? You have a Kshatriya movement. But there's different examples there. But so, all right.
Hare Krishna?
Yes. Hare Krishna.
May I?
Yes.
Yes, Balaram Prabhu, thank you very much. You're most kind, Dandavat Pranams. My question is, why is it that I often hear that the best friend a person could ever have is the devotee of Krishna? And I can put the question in other words. How dangerous could it be if I make friends with a non-devotee?
Well, Rupa Goswami, he mentions in the Nectar of Instruction, Asat Sangatyage Vaishnava, Atyahara Priyasascha Prajalpaniyam Agraha Jana Sangas Chalalyam Cha Shabir Bhakti Vinashati, that 6 principles that destroy bhakti, is one of them is association with non-devotees. And then in the positive, Utsaha Nishchadarya Tatat Karma Pavartanat Sangat Tyagat Satovite Shadbir Bhakti Prasidati, he also mentions that there's 6 principles favorable for devotional service, and one of them is not associated with devotees. He meant, yeah, to give up. Tyaga, to give up. So yeah, this is a very important principle in devotional service, to not associate with non-devotees. And nowadays, and especially in Kali Yuga, it becomes more challenging because there's non-devotees everywhere. On your phone, right? Just open up your phone and you could get plenty of non-devotee association there, or a computer. It's a wide, the amount that, like for example, podcasts, there's so many non-devotional podcasts out there, not so many devotee ones. Or movies, Hollywood, right? There's a lot of non-devotee association in Hollywood. Not so many devotees movies, they haven't entered the industry so much yet. So anyway, you could say it becomes more challenging. It could be more challenging. But it's a big topic. But if we associate with devotees, then all success is guaranteed. Why? Because we get the right idea. And from that right idea, we have it in our mind. Okay, this is what I should be doing with my life. This is the direction I should be going. And not only do they tell us that direction, but they teach by their personal example, how to tread that path, and they encourage us in that way. So one is they teach us what it is by literal education, by their words, and also by their example, and they encourage us in that. And in this way, all success can be achieved. Whereas non-devotee association, they do not know what the goal of life is. They do not teach by example. They do not encourage us in the higher principles of life. So therefore, we try to avoid as much as possible. All right, I hope that satisfies you.
Yeah, it's very helpful. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Granth Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Hare Krishna.